Let's get this crack-a-lacking. We're talking about the Flash. It's reaction time with Greg and Dean, and maybe we're gonna get mean. We don't really know. That's how the episode's starting. I'm not even gonna edit that out. I don't.
Do
If I'm being
it. Do
honest.
it. I like it.
Okay, cool beans. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reaction Time. I am Greg Varga, joined by Dean the Beast NJ. Hi, Dean. How are you?
Hey, man. I was thrown off. I didn't know we started that. Let's just keep going. Hey, I'm good. How you doing, man?
We're both happy and excited. Reviewing Flash and other television shows for y'all. I hope you all watch our shows, cause if you don't, the Beast NJ is gonna come to your house and wreck all your thrones. Welcome to Reaction Time.
Reaction time.
Oh my god, that was like the best backup vocal ever. Did we make that the intro for every Reaction Time? That was so good.
I guess we'll see how people feel about it.
Drew and Mike, sorry, this is happening. Surprise. Alright, today we shall be discussing Time to Get Serious. Full spoilers for The Flash and The Arrow. Of course, me and Dean are back to cover your favorite superhero shows as well as ours. We will be discussing, first up is The Flash, Season 1, Episode 16, titled Rogue Time, a nice combination of both of the plot lines we had this week. And let's dive right in, Dean. Let's dive right in here.
Why don't we?
Yeah, okay, cool. We have the show that picks up, and Barry, it picks up right at the end of last episode, which if you guys remember, he had his whole screaming montage. He does the time jump, and he's running alongside himself. It picks up literally right there. He is the only one that seems to remember everything that happened, obviously, because he's the only one that traveled back in time. And then he finishes off everyone's phrases. It's like literally scene for scene the same way the last episode was shot with the coroner at the morgue and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's kind of getting skeptical of him, and they all think he's acting weird. Barry captures the Weather Wizard against Dr. Wells' what is that called? Not improvisation. Warnings. What am I saying? I don't know.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
I'm wasted, everyone. Barry captures the Weather Wizard, imprisons him in their, like, weird jail cell that, like, none of the prisoners have to be fed, but, like, they're all there and alive still. I don't know how it works. I don't think metahumans have to eat, do they?
Yeah, I don't really know how it works. I just assume they feed them when they're off the air.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. What do you think they give them? Like, does Caitlin just, like, cook up stuff with Cisco?
Maybe they, like, shoot him stuff, like, maybe there's, like, a tube, and they just, like, shoot him stuff through the tube.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
But then, like, I
kind of
think
like
they
a
could
feeding
just all,
trough.
like, evaporate out. I don't know why this is their superpower all of a sudden, but I don't know
Maybe the one guy who was, like, smoke, yeah, he could do that probably.
That's
You're
what I'm
probably
saying. It's like they just be like, and then, like, die, and Caitlin's dead, Cisco's dead. This is my version of the show. I don't know. This is my superpower always. I don't know what that does, but it freaks people out, so they run away. And so then Dr. Wells starts to warn Barry that if he changes everything that happened in the timeline before, that everything's going to go astray, everything's going to get messed up. And what did you think about jumping back in here, having the redo scenes with Barry, and then him going off the path?
I was really actually disappointed in it.
Yeah.
I thought they did everything right the first time, even though it broke my heart to see Cisco die.
Yeah.
It was just so perfect.
Yeah.
And then they did the cardinal sin, in my opinion, which is to take it all back, or like it was all a dream. This is essentially the same thing, just with a timeline kind of twist. I don't like when people do that. I don't like when shows do that. How did you feel about it?
I agree 100%, and this is why I'm a little bit down on The Flash this week. I constantly say to you all that this is my favorite superhero show, and this week it disappointed me
easily.
a bit. It felt like a little cheap trick that they played on us, and I don't like to be tricked, Dean. I hate it. But then Cisco, I've been dying to know about his family, and we finally get to see his brother this episode, and a little bit of his other family. Caitlin and him are able to go to the birthday party now that Barry captured Weather Wizard. We meet Dante, Cisco's amazing older brother that is like Mozart mixed with Einstein mixed with like good-lookingness, and Cisco kind of hates his guts because he's the favorite child of the family. How do you feel about Dante this episode?
He was kind of a tool, but I did like learning more about Cisco.
Yeah.
It was nice that at least while they kind of took back everything that they delivered on in the other episode, which we really should say, who's to say it doesn't? I don't know. Maybe they'll break the timeline again and things will go back to how they originally happened. I guess anything goes now that they ripped open the space-time continuum, but it was cool to learn a little bit about his family and stuff. So like that was kind of the payoff for having to like relive these events.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've just been dying to know about his family because this whole 15 episodes before this, he's just been talking about how much he doesn't get along with them, and it never made sense to
Hmm.
me. And now I totally understand. He's the least favorite. He's like middle child syndrome, like Greg Berger. Why do you think I need all the attention, everybody? That's my life. And now we have Barry back to his storyline. He attempts to time travel again. He has no success. Dr. Wells and him are the only people that know. He's the only one that Barry tells. And as Papa Joe comes to Star Labs, still everybody's still thinking he's acting weird. He confirms that Martin's been captured, and now the Weather Wizard's done put away, and nothing bad seems to happen, right, Dean? It's all going to be okay.
It's all hunky dory,
It's
as they say.
all hunky dory. And now we have Linda and the Iris drama this episode. Woohoo! I hate the relationship parts. The relationship parts.
I was like, you know what? Totally, I agree with you. Until he laid down that pimp move in the one episode, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna save your dad. Don't worry." And then she was like, "Oh my God, kiss me, Barry." And he was like, "Oh, one quick thing on the Flash, gotta go." Then I was like, "Okay, I'll deal with some of the relationship stuff if it's like as cool as this all the time." But yeah, I wasn't like I was like finally glad to see like no one cares about Eddie anymore because Iris likes Barry now and Linda's gone, and like I was ready to move on from that. Now here we are again.
I agree with you 100%. I love the whole spinning player move of "Hi, I'm the Flash, Iris," and then "Barry, I love you so much." I don't know why she has a disease in my storyline. My storyline is just terrible of the Flash. If I recounted all of the Flash episodes, you would not understand what's happening. Thank God I'm on reaction time, right, everybody? So essentially Barry breaks up with Linda, and in a weird twist of events, she's kind of like, "Go get Iris. I know you love her." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah,
that was
out of character too.
Very odd for her. Which in the last episode, as soon as she finds out about Iris and Barry, she's like, "You son of a bitch! I can't believe you're making out with the black girl." I'm like, "What? Why are you racist all of a sudden?"
Yeah.
It's very odd. And then Barry kind of sits down, goes out to coffee with Iris, and is kind of like, "I know she loves me, so I'm gonna ace this one." He sits down and he's like, "I love you, baby girl." Grabs her hand. She's kind of like, "What the hell is going on?" She's like, "I'm in love with Eddie." How did you feel about that? Now we're back right in.
Yeah, he played it all wrong. It was like watching a car accident.
I know.
Like you couldn't look away.
Yeah.
But he definitely played it all wrong. He was pretty much like, "Look, you don't have to say anything. I know you have feelings for me."
Yeah.
And like it was easy to see. It was easy to see that coming. But it does suck for him because he finally got like some progress going.
The worst part is like he still knows what the kiss felt like, what it was to him, how much it meant to him, and now nobody else, like Iris, has no idea that they kissed. Continuing on with the Cisco storyline, Cisco and Barry meet at the bar after the party goes astray. Dante kind of makes fun of Cisco. He leaves. Caitlin, in an awkward attempt, goes, "Well, happy birthday, Dante," and leaves the party. I love Caitlin. She's like my Felicity in the show. And then they go to a bar, and all of a sudden this hot engineer chick from Mercury Labs comes over, starts hitting on Cisco. I'm like, "Look at you, Cisco, recovering." Until it's a plot to kidnap him, and it's Captain Cold's sister. So how'd you feel about that twist? I like how they brought her in.
Yeah, well, I mean, we knew that it was going to be her because of the original timeline when she breaks them out of the where are they, in the truck or prison or something?
Yeah, it's like a weird truck. It's like the armored unit that like brings them to the prison.
Yeah, so that kind of sucked that like we already knew it was gonna be her, but I guess it was cool. It was a cool way to get her in there.
Very good looking.
Yeah, she's pretty. She's good looking, yeah, for sure.
I think, and the similarities between her and Cole too, like they look like they're actual siblings in real life, which I thought
I could see that.
Good casting call on them too.
The whole thing with Cold and what's his name? Heatwave, is that his name?
Yeah, Mech.
Yeah, man, they're the worst. I know. They're the worst. I hate them.
I know. I love their cheesiness. I think it brings like kind of like it brings it back to like comic, but that's what it reminds me of, like reading comics when I was a kid and like all the cheesy lines like "pow kablam," like that's where I fit them in my mind. It's like that.
Yeah, but it's like 60s comics. You know what I mean? Like we're so past that at this point. Like you don't need to resort back to that kind of like. And he really is. He's like when they're like the scene where they're like making a deal at the end. He's like, "Well, I don't suppose you'll give me a ride." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna knock this guy out."
And he's like, "Oh, the Rogues. That's pretty cute.
Yeah,
On
it
Captain
was so
Cold.
terrible.
Yeah, I hate that actor too. I didn't like him when he was on Prison Break. I
No,
do
me
like the
either.
brother as an actor, but Heatwave doesn't really get a lot of lines in these episodes. But moving on, Cisco complies because they capture Dante as well. They use Dante against him to blackmail him. He makes all three of them weapons, and Captain Cold's sister becomes Gold Girl, the glitter gun. I don't know her from the comics, so I'm assuming that's like a reference to that, right? Like, is that what she does?
That's what she does. I think she's part of the Rogues Gallery,
Okay,
but
cool.
I don't actually know her like supervillain name. I wasn't a big DC comics reader up until like pretty recently. Like within the last few years, I
Yeah.
started jumping on board reading DC books.
Yeah, and I've only read like a few of the Flash. I've read like you recommend Injustice, by the way, to anybody, and I need to pick that up too. I have,
Yeah, that's good. They're 99 cents an issue too, so
yeah,
you can catch up like pretty quick.
like that, like the Flash, in the nick of time. Ho, puns, puns. What reaction time? Here we are. Now we have Papa Joe who calls to inform Barry about Cold. Flash shows up to Cold and Gold wreaking havoc in the casino, and then this is what made me angry about the storyline. I could deal with the cheesiness, I can put up with everything else, but every time Barry and Cold interact this episode, they don't fight. They just kind of like talk and then walk away from each other like nothing happened. And that's what
Hmm.
pissed me off. Like, we'll get to the deal at the end too, because I have a lot to say about that. But when they just go to the casino and like they're robbing the casino of all the money and stuff, like he grabs him and he's like, "Well, I got Cisco," and he's like, "Well, I have your sister," and he's like, "Yeah, but I got Cisco," and he's like, "All right, take your sister back. I'll see you later." Like what? Like it was so awkward.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward. The interactions between them were definitely pretty strange. I'm not a fan of this timeline at
Yeah,
all, really,
same.
except for one part, which I'm sure we'll get to at the end.
Yeah, probably. And now we see Eddie and Barry investigating the crime scene later on as the police people now. He's not in the Flash costume. Eddie punches him in the face and he's like, "Stay away from my woman." And Barry's just like,
Hmm.
"Meh." He does the Greg superpower and runs away. Now, he talks to Dr. Wells again. Notably, Dr. Wells, I feel like he kind of knows about the other timeline somehow, just because he has Gideon and like the whole futuristic thing where like he can check on the timeline. Because then he advises Barry that he can't go back and save Nora Allen, his mother. Now that he can time travel. How did you feel about that whole scene? Do you think he's gonna end up saving his mom?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme, whatever timeline this ends up in, I don't think he's gonna wind up saving his mother. I don't think Dr. Wells knows
Yeah.
what happened exactly in the other timeline. I think he knows that there was another timeline, obviously, because he tells him like it's dangerous to alter with the time continuum. So he definitely knows that this is his second go at the same day.
Mhm.
But I don't think he knows exactly what happened. I don't think he's aware that like he killed Sisto in that other timeline and all
Yeah.
this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, that makes more sense too. Because I was kind of like, every time he talks to Gideon, there's that newspaper article that's like the Flash is still missing. So I'm assuming his end goal is to kill the Flash, right? That's what we're assuming in this whole scenario.
I'm. I think so. Yeah, I think he is.
Plotting his revenge.
I don't
for
know. I have a lot of theories on what exactly Dr. Wells' end goal is in all of this, but it's hard to say at this
Yeah.
point. It's still really early in the game. We're only on the first season. It feels
Yeah.
like it's been like forever, but
Right? Yeah. It's so weird
it's
that you just pointed that out too, because as soon as you said we're only on the first season, I'm like, oh my god, we're only like 17 episodes into the show, and I feel like so
well,
much.
they
has
took so many breaks too.
Yeah.
It's really like prolongs the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true too. Now we move on here. Of course, Barry comes in, saves the day. Cisco gets to go home after revealing that this is another weird part of the episode. Captain Cold's kind of like, "I need to know who the Flash is, or otherwise your brother's Mozart piano fingers are going to be frostbitten off." And Cisco returns back to Star Labs, and Captain Cold just lets him go after finding out that Barry's the Flash. Did you not find
Yeah,
that odd?
yeah, it was super odd. It was I didn't really have anything else to say about it. It was a
Yeah.
weird plot point
It
to
just
write.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And now they find this armored truck that the Rogues Gallery is gonna hit. Barry zooms in, takes Captain Cold away from the rest of the group, stops them from robbing the mob family, and then they kind of strike this deal, which this is why I wanted to say this for last, because it pissed me off. Barry essentially tells him, "You can still rob people and like go steal all of these items from whoever you want. Just don't kill anybody, and I won't stop you because you know that I'm Barry Allen." What?
Hmm.
Were you not living?
Yeah, that's a terrible, terrible deal, and I kind of feel like I don't think I think he was just kind of trying to I don't know, like put a band-aid on the situation for the
Yeah.
time being. I don't think he actually is going to let him just do whatever he wants. I think he knows that if he releases his identity to everyone, he's obviously in big trouble. So I think he was just trying to like rectify it for the time being.
Mhm.
But I could see him later like trying to work out a way to really like capture Captain Cold.
I feel like all he has to do is imprison him and find. As soon as he finds that hard drive that has all the information on it, all he's got to do is throw him in the jail cell where nobody gets fed. And Oliver Twist is in there asking for more porridge. That's how I picture the prison cell. I don't know why. May I have some
But
more?
isn't it uploaded to the internet? Or no, he said he was going to upload it.
Yeah, he said it was going to upload it, and I have to stop it every hour or every 2 hours or something before it uploads. And I'm the only one that knows the code
Okay.
and blah blah blah. So typical like superhero jazz where
Right.
they're like, I know your identity and I'm gonna release it to everybody. Which at this point in both Arrow and the Flash, everyone kind of knows anyway. So like, what's the difference if your neighbor knows that we never see in the show? Because you kind of told everybody. The only one that doesn't know at this point is Iris, right? That is like a major character.
Um, she does know. Well, I guess in this timeline
Yeah.
she doesn't, but
Yeah.
yeah, she did in the other one. So I don't know why they're bothering anymore with the secret identity stuff. It kind of seems like overall, everyone's kind of dropping the secret identity thing
Yeah.
with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, no one really has a secret identity exactly, and
Yeah.
like if you think about it in the Avengers, like everyone kind of knows who
Yeah.
does what.
Yeah, everyone knows Tony Stark is Iron Man and he's flying around
Right.
and whatever. Yeah, that's the
And
total.
it seems like DC is kind of following suits, but yeah, traditionally they have like a tighter held secret. I don't know why
Yeah.
everyone just knows everything in
Yeah.
both of these.
I mean, it makes sense to have the secret identity still because then the ones you love and care about, like, they don't get hurt or kidnapped. But then
I think they should have them. I'm pro secret identity, but I think it should be more well protected. They're just getting all like willy nilly about telling who they want to tell in these shows.
I just had a vision of Dean running for president. He's like, everybody, don't worry, I'm pro secret identity. And, like, there are vigilantes swinging and flying around him.
Dude, that's essentially the plot line of Civil War for Marvel. Did you read Civil
I'm so
War?
excited. I didn't read it, but I'm so excited for the movie, and I've heard that
You should read it before it comes out, dude. Just read the core. You don't have to read all the bullshit. Just read like the core 7 books.
Yeah.
They're so good.
I think I'm gonna check it out. Everyone keeps talking this one. I still have to see Winter Soldier though. I'm very behind in movies, just as bad as I am.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do when we hang out.
Spoilers, everybody! I'm coming to Jersey. I love that. That's how I teleport to Jersey. That's my power. I can teleport by doing that heinous face and noise. Now the other big part of this whole episode, we got through all the rest of the crap, and then they referenced the Rogues Gallery, of course, like we said before. Barry's kind of like, you in the Rogues Gallery, and he's like, the Rogues, that's really precious. I love myself and Captain Cold. I feel like if I was a villain in this universe, I'd be Captain Cold. Right, if I'm being honest.
You could fit in with the Rogues for sure.
Oh, glitter gold gray, how you doing? And then at the biggest twist, probably this whole thing, Mason, Iris's mentor at the newspaper station, gets a visit from Reverse Flash after he's investigating Harrison Wells. And Wells did warn Barry that stuff was going to happen if you mess with the timeline, and now Wells gets to, well, not gets to, he kind of just forces himself into the newspaper station, does his signature, I'm going to remove your heart by vibrating my arm so quickly that you can't breathe and die. Then he cleans up the scene, and he's killed Mason now. So now that's 2 people, right, that we've seen so far, Simon Stagg and Mason, I don't know his last name, but Mason Reporter.
Yeah, I don't know his last name either.
But yeah, how did you feel about seeing the Reverse Flash in action killing again?
I mean, it makes sense. If you look at this, if you look at the episode, there was quite a few things that happened
differently,
exactly as they happened, but differently. Yeah, it's like it was Cisco who got the arm through.
Yeah, and we didn't even see. I didn't bring up Cisco got the whole sun speech again. I was so happy from Dr. Wells, but he didn't get killed. That's what I wrote down in my notes. I wrote,
but this time it was like an actual like nice like speech. So like it was kind of cool to see like those little twists on it. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, I thought for a second when he asked to speak to Cisco, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna kill him in both timelines. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that would have kind of redeemed this timeline for me. Is if they just went through with it anyway and was like, he dies no matter what you do. I'm like, I kind of almost wanted that to happen.
Yeah,
but
I agree 100%. That would have been as soon as he brought him into the chamber, he's like, do you know why I brought you here? I'm like, it's happening again. Oh my god, Cisco.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. It was such a good thing though. But I like you said, the little twist that they put on the same exact like kind of wording and stuff. It made it worth watching. Even though it wasn't my favorite episode of The Flash, probably one of my least favorite in a while. But at the end of the episode, of course, we see Barry's talking to Wells. He sees that Mason, the reporter, has gone missing. And he kind of gets skeptical of Wells, so much so that he calls Papa Joe for a meeting upstairs at the the police station and kind of tells them, like, listen, you were right about everything. Wells is sketchy as shit, and we need to do something about it. And that's how the episode ends. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that is what redeemed the episode for me personally, because like in the previous timeline, he was not necessarily going to find out about Wells, even though Wells killed Cisco. Like he very well could have covered it up, and Barry would have went along working with him, and everything just would have continued on. But at least in this timeline, now Barry's wise to Dr. Wells' act, and I kind of like that even better.
Yeah,
the end results, but it was a little disappointing.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I would change from, and I think we could both agree on this, everything worked out to get it back to now we're back on track with the Flash. The one thing I would have kept the same was the Iris Barry move. I think we can both agree. Pimp Barry is the best Barry.
I would have kept the Iris Barry move. I for sure would have kept the Cisco thing.
Yeah. Oh, and Cisco too, yeah. We've talked about that multiple times. I don't know. As much as I wanted and I appreciated them killing him, I love Cisco so much. Like, he just makes me
love Cisco too, but it was definitive. It needed to happen.
Yeah.
And they took it back, and now I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens from here out.
Yeah.
But I still have a lot of love for the show. This is like I'm on the same page as you. This is one of, if not my favorite, like superhero show on right now.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And then next week we finally get Mark Hamill comes back as the Trickster, which he is reprising his role from the old Flash television series. And he looks just as crazy and chaotic. It looks like he's gonna be a fun episode. He's
essentially. Did you see the preview? He was doing the cackle and stuff, and even the trailer text that comes up is like he's no Joker.
Yep.
Like he's pretty much the Joker, which is fine with me, dude. I'd love to hear that voice one more time.
Yeah, I'm totally excited to see that. And I don't know if you noticed too the pickup on the Mob family in this episode. Just to give a little Easter egg, there was the Maroney family, which maybe links us to Batman.
I didn't even hear that. I didn't even hear that.
That was the Mob family that we had this whole episode. So maybe we can get. I know we've said on past episodes we'll never see Batman, but that would be awesome if Michael Caine comes over from Gotham and reprises as well as Alfred. But yeah, that was what we thought of the episode. Of course, you guys can all let us know what you thought in the comments below. See if you agree with us or love Greg's superpower. And you can check out all of our other archive videos as well as this one we'll be putting up on YouTube at youtube.com/the-level-up-show, level spelled LVL. Of course, the best way to support us and improve our shows, because now we got like new banners and stuff. Do you see this? #reaction time. We're trendsetters, everybody. You can support us at patreon.com/the-level-up-network, spelled exactly as it sounds, and I will link that right here for you. I'm motioning to it. It'll be there soon. It'll be there when you see it.
I'm motioning to it, but you can't see my head.
Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm getting off track. Sorry, everybody. That was Greg singing. Nice to meet you.